very beginning, I have a very big sports family. In terms of my mom is one of seven siblings. All of my aunts and uncles on my mom's side played some level of college sports, right? Whether that's Division 1 or Division 2. Um, Two of my aunts were big time college basketball players. One is a basketball coach, was in the WNBA, was a WNBA coach. My grandfather was a big time basketball coach. So just since I've been born, I've been in sports in some capacity. I would say I didn't start organized sports until I was probably 4, which is, I would say at this point pretty standard when, people realize, oh, I like a ball or I like to move around a lot. They just kind of put you in a sport. So I was into everything. My mom ran track at Columbia. My dad played basketball at Columbia. My aunt played basketball at Cal. My other aunt played basketball at Houston. My grandpa was a basketball coach. My uncle played football. My other uncle played baseball. Right. So if you can imagine, like, there's a lot of different directions, right, that we were all going in. We're a big time basketball family, so that was my first sport. And transparently, I will tell you, I'm not the greatest basketball player. So I think I am, and for a football player, I can probably get away with it a little bit. But we found out pretty early that basketball probably wasn't my favorite sport, right? But my mom said, just growing up, every season you have to do something, right? Until you get to high school, every season, whether it's the spring, the summer, the winter, the fall, right? You have to be participating in something, right? So this is your time if you want to try out different things, right? You can run track, you can play baseball, you can swim, right? As you're younger, we were really, really big on, and I think that it plays into my philosophy as a trainer as well in doing different things, right? So go out and go play soccer, right? And then come back in, you have a baseball game later, you're going to take a nap and you're going to go, right? But it's from the sense of I wanted to do all this, right? So I'm going to tie this all in as we go. But I would say I started organized sports at the age of 4. I was a basketball player, baseball player, and football player were probably my 3 big sports. We used to live in California, so up until I was 7 years old, we were in California. So as you can imagine, it's a little bit more sports dominated, right? In terms of like you can play anything all time of the year, right? So I realized that I was in love with sports naturally, right? I didn't have to have anybody to tell me to go outside and play or to pick up a baseball or to ask grandpa to go shoot hoops in the driveway. Like all those things were just kind of natural to me, right? And I fell in love with sports and, throughout my journey, I played the saxophone in high school. Like I've done all these different things, but I've always kind of referred back to sports in some capacity, right? So I would say up until up until middle school, I was really big on those 3 sports. Okay, with my whole entire family being basketball players, we had a sit down conversation. Brandon, do you think you're going to play basketball in high school? Do you think you're going to play basketball in college? Do you think you're going to play basketball in the pros? Probably not. I can probably play in high school, right? But I don't think that I want to play in college, and I don't want to play in the pros. Okay, cool. So you can cut basketball out of your list if you like, right? But basketball is a winter sport, so you have to find something else to do, right? So from there, right, basketball was kind of the sport that I had grown up playing. It transitioned into baseball, right? So I became a 2-sport specialized athlete, I would say in 8th grade. And as you guys kind of know, the landscape of sports now, like 2 sports is plenty enough, right? So being able to say, all right, how am I going to make sure that I am good at both sports? Because that was one of my goals, right? To make sure that I wasn't just trying to be a good football player. That just because the NFL was my goal since I was little, that doesn't mean I'm going to just play baseball in the winter and the spring and then take it easy and wait for football season, right? Just the way that I operate, the way that I like to, work out, I found different ways, right, to integrate baseball into football, right? I would always lift for baseball a specific way, right? I would always lift for football a specific way. I didn't necessarily know that until I got to a place like the prep, right? That says we celebrate multi-sport athletes, right? Basketball and football, probably not, just because the seasons are so close, right? But we want our guys to play multiple sports. So we have on my baseball team, we had probably 5 or 6 football players. Like we had a very big community of, once you get to high school, you don't have to just be a four-star football player, or you don't just have to be the best basketball player in the state. You can be a really good football player and a really good baseball player, and then figure out what you want to do from there, right? So I think that that's also a very big lesson that I try to give in my training, that I try to give the young kids, is that you don't have to pick, right, until somebody or you decides that it's time to play one or right the other. So I think that that also is a really big part of my journey and how I got to the place that I'm at, and how I conduct myself in terms of training different sports and training different positions. But um, I played football and baseball all throughout high school. So I was actually more of a baseball player, or more recognizable as a baseball player, than I was a football player until my senior year, right? So a couple of you guys know kind of how I got to where I was in college. But this isn't like, it's not something that you're necessarily going to be like, oh, this makes a lot of sense, right? So I was an all-state baseball player my junior year, and I never caught a pass in high school until my senior year. Okay, I went to Bucknell. If we're just fast forwarding, like, how did we get to this point? And I'm going to open up the floor, right, for some specific questions. But I never caught a pass as a football player until my senior year of high school, and I was going to Bucknell on a full ride scholarship at the end of my junior year. So before I ever caught a football, right, on the field, ever caught a touchdown, ever had my name in the papers, ever did anything, I already was committed to college to play a sport that wasn't my number one sport, right? So with that being said, like, I think that, one, the group of people that I had around me, two, the attention to my work ethic, right? I don't like to tell people that I work hard. I know that I work hard, right? The things fall into place the way that they should, right? But when people recognize that, and when people can say, "Oh, I know that he's a hard worker," right? I know that he's doing the stuff that he needs to do, right? To be able to take 3 months off of football, or to not go to football conditioning, because you know that you're going to be able to handle your right business whenever it's time to come back, right? So, just kind of not trying to get too far sidetracked, but I was going to Bucknell on a full football scholarship, never caught a pass, and the reason that I decided to go play football was because I love football, right? So my mom is mad at me, right? My mom is still mad at me to this day. Part of the reason that I train baseball players is because my mom, like, my mom tells me, Brandon, you should have played baseball, right? And not from the sense of you should have played baseball because you got hurt in football and it had to end it, right, to end your career. But she was like, I wish that you knew how good you were at baseball, right, without even putting that much work into it necessarily, or the work that I was putting in for football, right, because of all the things that I had done to get to that point, right? So for me to say, I can take a month off of football and just do baseball stuff, right, but still run my sprints, still run my routes, still wake up and stretch, right, so that when I go back to football, I'm not 3 steps behind, right? So that kind of stuff, as coaches, and I'm a coach now, you see that, right? You see the guys that are showing up. So now when somebody comes to school, when Bucknell comes to school and says, why is this kid not playing anywhere, right? Who is this kid? Why does he have good grades? What's his deal? Why has he not caught a pass? People were willing to go to bat for me and say, he's a good football player, right? Even though he doesn't have the tape, even though he doesn't have the stats or whatever it is, right? I'm willing to go to bat for him because I trust him, right? I know the work that he does. I see him behind the scenes. I can show you the text messages, right? All these little things that people don't think are a big deal because you don't get instant gratification from it are the things that actually pay off in the very end, right? So when a coach came to my school and said, without I had no idea. My high school coach called me and said, Bucknell just gave you a scholarship offer. I said, I don't know what Bucknell is. I've never heard of Bucknell. Like, I thought I wanted to go to the NFL. I don't know any guys in the NFL from Bucknell. That was what I said. Okay. And then my coach sat me down and said, Brandon, why would you be playing baseball? Why would you be playing an instrument? Why would you be doing X, Y, Z if you already have your mindset on X? Do you know that that's going to work out? Did your high school career work out the way that you thought it was going to work out? Probably not. Right. So who are you to say, I'm not going to give something a chance? I'm not going to work hard at something. I'm not going to figure it out and then see what happens from there. You have a full scholarship offer, Brandon. You've never caught a pass. Why would you think that you're better than that? Right. And that's hard to hear. That's hard. I've had a lot of tough conversations. I think that a lot of things that have manifested in my life come from uncomfortable conversations because you don't know how much people trust you, how much people believe in you, how much people are willing to work with you unless you have uncomfortable conversations. So for my high school coach to say, Brandon, I'm not putting you in the game over DeAndre Swift because he's better than you. And for me to say, like that adds up. That's not a 15 or 16-year-old way to think, right? And that's not how I thought, but I had to learn. Somebody had to teach me. Somebody had to show me, right? To say, this is what you have to do to get where you want to be. It's not going to happen fast, right? You're probably not going to go to the NFL from Bucknell, right? You don't have enough tape. You don't have enough X. But I will tell you that you work hard, right? And I will tell you that you're smart and that you do the things that you're willing to do to be able to get somewhere where you want to go. So if you just stay consistent, that's gonna pay off for you in one sense or another, right? And you really have no idea. So just kind of fast forwarding, I got my scholarship offer. July 29th is my birthday. Okay, so July 29th, my mom. I was very upset that I was going into my senior year. I was like, I don't have any tape. I'm playing behind DeAndre Swift. You know, I don't know what I'm gonna do. It looks like this football thing is over. I don't know, Mom. I'm tired. Maybe I should just play baseball. I don't love it, but I'll do it. It's fine. Okay. She said, we're gonna go to 3 camps, right? And she was like, if the coaches at the camps don't think that you're good enough, then you can play baseball. Right. So once again, another very uncomfortable conversation. Mom, it's my birthday. I don't want to go to football camp. I don't think these coaches are going to offer me. I don't know I don't know. Okay. First camp that I went to was Columbia. Right. So parents went there. I was on their radar. Right. And something happened with trust. Right. So a coach told me, right, I'm not going to get into names. Coach told me, you're one of our top guys on the list. If you go out and perform well at camp, right, then we're going to give you an offer. So I said, oh, all right, cool. I've been waiting for this. It's my time. All I have to do is have a good 4-hour camp, and I'm good. I go there. I have a great camp. My dad's there. My dad went to Columbia. He knows some of the coaches. They took us on a private tour, right? After the camp, you did great. We're thinking about giving you the offer. We're going to take you to the facility, show you around. Cool. Show me around. It's me and 2 other kids, me and 2 other, right, wide receivers. And they looked at all 3 of us in the face and said, who wants to go to Columbia? And I was the last person to raise my hand, right? Because I said, I'm thinking to myself, if they say that, right, and I put my hand up first, then I just locked myself in before I went to any other camps, right? Before I decided if I want to go to my parents' alma mater, if I want to take on that responsibility, because they've always told me it's your life, right? We'll give you the avenue, we'll give you the tools, we'll connect you to the people that we know. But if you don't want to go to Columbia, then don't go to Columbia, right? You're smart enough to go, but don't go, right? So in that moment, right, coaches hadn't talked to me. This was my first camp. I did really well. I'm excited. 3 kids, all exact same position, same class in high school. 2 of the kids raised their hand first. I thought about the question, raised my hand last, and they said, we're going to offer these 2 kids. Okay. So that's a hard conversation, right? My dad's right there. I'm like, oh, I was like, do you guys want me to leave? Like, do you want me to leave? Am I good? Like, so first one, right? That was my first camp experience ever, right? Never caught a pass. I'm going to keep saying this. Never caught a pass, right? I just want to go to college. I want to go to college for something that I love, right? And somebody broke my heart the first time. Okay, my parents' old school. Like, geez, all right, well, long car ride home. Okay, that was July 23rd. Okay, I said, Mom, I don't. I told you before we went, I don't want to go to camp, and this is what happened. Right, your school. I'm mad at her. I'm pissed off. All right, Brad, I'm gonna let you. Yep, I lost that one. I'm gonna let you go. Got it. Okay. A couple days later, she texts me and she's like, your coach just signed you up for Bucknell camp, right? He wants you to go out to another good school. Just same thing. I didn't do it, so you can't blame me, right? But he signed you up. We just want you to go to this camp. Here's right when it is. I said, Mom, that's my birthday. I was like, why would you let him do that? Why would you? So now what, right? What am I? I'm mad at my mom, right? You embarrassed me the first time because I think it's her fault. You embarrassed me the first time, right? And now you signed me up without my permission on a day that I don't want to go. Now I'm miserable. Okay. Right. Remember this, miserable. Okay. So we wake up. Bucknell is, I live in Downingtown. So right outside Philly. Bucknell is 2 hours and 30 minutes, right? Give or take. Camp started at 8 a.m. My mom the night before went to Wegmans, got me a small little birthday cake and said, we're waking up at 4:30. Be ready to go. We're going to Bucknell. Bring your best pair of cleats and let's go. So I was like, all right, cool. Woke up, didn't speak to her the entire ride. I was pissed. Mom, I'm tired. It's my birthday. Like, thank you for the cake, but I don't want to do this. Get to the camp. Don't know anybody. Never played against anybody. Don't know any of these kids. Don't know the coaches. I've never heard of Bucknell, so I'm literally doing research as I'm going up to school. All right, Division 1, not Power 5, not Power 4, but I probably can't play there. So all right, I guess we'll just make it work. Go to camp, have a great day. Great day. Like, probably don't lose a one-on-one. Coaches are like asking me to go up against their best guys, right? Whatever. And it was a great day. I was like, yo, I feel like I have my confidence. I have confidence. I can play. If these are the other kids that are playing at this level, then I think I should be okay. So that was the end of my first day. Still, no call, nothing. I was just happy. I was like, all right, cool. I left. I'll eat my cake, go home, sleep, go to school on Monday. Monday morning, I go to school the next day, go in my coach's office because we're getting ready to work out, right? So July 30th, football players, right? We're going to camp. We're starting to get ready for senior year, right? Probably have a couple more days of workouts. I go into my coach's office. He's like, hey, how was, right, Bucknell? Happy birthday. Just, the whole deal. And he said, sit down for a second. And I was like, okay. And he said, I didn't want your mom to tell you, but Bucknell just offered you a full scholarship. And I was like, well, okay. I was like, actually, like, are you, and he was like, yes. He's like, they offered you a full scholarship. He said, the coach called me after, and said, send me some of Brandon's film. He said, he looked really good today. Like, I just want to get to know him a little bit more. I want to reach out, XYZ. Coach said, Brandon doesn't have any film. And he's telling me this as I'm sitting down. Coach says, Brandon doesn't have any film, but he's your kid. And the coach was like, I don't know what you mean by that. Think about timing wise. Like, St. Joe's Prep, we had just won the state championship game, right? So people people know the program, people know the coach. Our coach is, established, successful. He told the Bucknell coach, I promise you won't regret it. He said, I don't know what you do, but I promise you won't regret it. Okay. So those words, I promise you won't regret it. Okay. Right after that, he said, all right, Gabe, I'm gonna offer him. He said, I'm gonna offer him. We have 2 spots. I'm gonna do it. And he said, okay, I appreciate you. He won't let you down. And he hung up the phone quick. He was like, it was a 5-minute conversation. I trust the coach. All right, if you say so, good program. This kid, we're gonna take a chance. I sit there, obviously, like, I'm really emotional. I'm like, thank you, coach. Like, you're awesome. Like, this is great. And he told me, right, because I'd had some injuries, I'd had some rough years, right, in terms of confidence. Like I was the best, one of the best players in my area in youth, and then going to high school, wasn't playing at all, playing behind some really great kids that are in the NFL now, like kids that I can't looking back be like I should have played over them. Like it literally was just like this is the situation that I'm in. Three guys that I'm behind now play in the NFL. So I'm like, well, I'm glad that I did it. I'm glad that I stayed. I'm glad that I saw it through. But he was like, I believe in you. That's all he said to me. He said, Brandon, over the last couple of years, I believe in you. He said, I see what you do. He said, I don't always acknowledge it because I don't need to with you. So he said, anytime that you're upset, I'm not going to come rub you on the back. He said, I'm not going to come pat you on the back. He said, because I know that you're mature enough that if I tell you what you're doing wrong, or if I tell you why you're not on the field, I'm just going to leave it at that. Right? You're not as big as you should be your sophomore year of high school. Okay, you can't block as well as you need to your junior year of high school, right? We have the best player in the country. You need to be able to block for him, right? If you can't block, you're not going to get on the field. So how would you get the ball, right? So just all these different conversations that we've had have built up trust for us, right? To the point of he's a 40-year-old man. I am 17 years old, and he is one of my closest people to this day. Like I call him, he coaches now at Duke. He was my head coach. Like I'm a football coach, all these different things. Like he is my person, right? But he told me, and I saw right, Taji, I saw your question. He said, I trust you. I believe in you. I will go to bat for you, right? So if anybody has any questions about something and they ask, tell me how you feel about Brandon Sanders, I'm gonna answer. Okay, I'm gonna say no. I know that you believe me, right? So believe me when I tell you he's not going to let you down. And from that day on, right, literally, I will never forget those words in my head. I'll never forget the face that he made. I'll never forget our hug. Like that changed my life, right? And it's not a like, oh my God, I put in all this hard work and finally I had a 15 catch game and oh my God, I'm so excited. Like it was that moment, right, that I said somebody believes in me, right? Even though it didn't go the way that I wanted it to go, somebody believes in me, right? So from that, actually, you know what? Before I go too far, Taiji, let me touch on your question. So, Taiji and I'm going to introduce you too. We played against each other. Taiji played at Lehigh. We played against each other at Bucknell. We played against each other in high school. So I just thank you, right, for coming on and asking that question because I do think that you are someone that has seen my journey, right? Had not necessarily been in it, right, all the time, but you've seen it, right? So Taiji's question was, can you touch on how important it is to have a strong why through your experience in these rejections? Because people never know what's going on behind the scenes, right? So if somebody tells you you're not good enough or you're not X, you're not Y, by whose standards, right? And that's what I'll always say. I'll say by whose standards, right? So knowing what you're playing for, right? I play for my family. I play to inspire, right? At this point in my career, right? And when I was getting towards the back end of my Rutgers career and my Bucknell career, it was to show people that you can do it, right? That you can play two sports, that you can, right? Not play in high school and be one of the all-time leading, right, people in history at a school, right? Like all these different things are to realize like rejection is never real unless you place it on yourself, right? So if somebody tells me you can't do it, I'm going to challenge you every single time. And that's not because I don't like you, right? That's not because I don't agree with you. Maybe I can't do it, right? But why do you think that? What's going to make you say, right? After all the things that I've done, after all the things that I know in my heart, right? I know that I work hard. No, right? Nobody can take that away from me. I know that I'm smart, right? And I try to exercise that, right? So I'm naturally gifted, but I think that you have to work on these different things. I work on being smart. I work on seeing things a different way. I work on public speaking. I work on coaching kids. I work on coaching adults, right? All these different things play into, right, me being an ex-trainer or me being an ex-player right? Because I know fundamentally, what am I working for, right? So people will tell you over and over and over again, right? What's your why? And that's a very cliche question because it's very true. Like everybody has to have a reason, or else at the very end of the day, when you don't want to do it, you're not going to do it every time, right? But if you have a little voice in the back of your head that says, I you can't give up because X needs you. Is it a person? Is it a thing? Is it my grandmother passed away and I wear her chain every time I play? Or is it I have a matching right tattoo on my wrist with my mom, right? To say anytime that you think you can't do something, I'm not going to send you a big long text, right? I'm not going to call you and FaceTime you, but I want you to look down at your wrist, right? And know that your mom is with you, or know that X is with you, or know that your friend is proud of you and is watching you and is hoping that you do something well so that he can share it to his friends and that he can tell people about you. Like all these different things, I think are a very, very under the surface way to think about life, right? So I think that the people that do well, people that have things coincidentally fall into their lap or see a positive trend or a positive trajectory of their life, ask them what they did before that. Ask them what it looked like before that. Because people, I don't believe in luck. I think that you make your own luck, right? So I think that things that fall into place for you are a blessing for something that didn't go right in the past, right? So maybe I consider myself a good football coach because it took me a long time to get there, right? So I know what it's like to coach kids that don't play. I know what it's like to coach kids that are superstars, right? I know what it's like to coach guys that are in the NFL that are older than me, right? But see what I do, see my passion, have friends that will speak for me and say, you know what, I'm gonna give Brandon a chance. And once again, all I need is a chance, right? Just give me one chance. I think that I can make something work. And even if you don't like it, or if you have questions for me, right? Or if you want to figure out how we can make this better, I'm willing to say, let's have a conversation, right? I'm a coach. I'm a player that wants to hear everything because now I know how I should operate, right? If I can get right the full reason why I got the scholarship offer, right, and not just hearing, oh, they offered you because you went to St. Joe's Prep and you're going to be the next receiver this year, so we're going to take a chance on you. That's why, right? It was I got the offer because somebody went to bat for me because of the hard work that I did. So who would I be to give that up? Right. So when people say, Brandon, all right, you know, I went in as a freshman, right, to Bucknell, and my first day on campus, I was starting. And I was like, I don't like that doesn't make sense. I said, I've literally like I had a good senior year of high school. I did well, but like I shouldn't be starting at a university only one year down, like only 1 year of playing real big time football, and that's in high school, right? So like I'm playing against 21 and 22-year-olds as a 17-year-old that caught 40 passes in high school. So I'm like, yo, my first day, I was terrified, and you would never believe me. My first month, terrified. I'm in the locker room, like these are grown men. Like, yo, these are grown men, right? And coach sat me down after the first workout, and he said, you're gonna get the football. Like, you're not just playing just because we want to get you experience. Like, you're gonna be a focal point. Like, you're gonna play, right? So I don't know what you have to do, right? And once again, we built this relationship. And sorry, I see your question right again. Let me finish this, and then I will keep moving. It was one of those things of now he knows how to coach me, right? So whether it was a conversation that he had with somebody else, that's another way to build trust with somebody. So now I have a coach, right, that has gotten the backstory from somebody else that knows me, right, that trusts me, that can give him advice on how do I coach Brandon. I know Brandon is going to be one of our best players, is going to be one of our focal points. So you have to tell me how to coach Brandon. I don't think I'm that hard to coach, right? In the sense of like, I like to listen. I like to learn. Like, I want to know what I'm doing wrong. I want to know how to get better. But you just have to tell me what do I have to do so I can accomplish it, right? So coach said, you're starting And if you're starting the first day as a freshman, you're probably not ever going to not start, right? So whatever you have to do, unless you get hurt, figure out a way to take care of yourself, right? To put the work in, to get bigger, to get faster, to get stronger. Because if you're not doing that for yourself, then you're going to get embarrassed, right? And these are grown men. So you getting embarrassed in high school is different than you getting embarrassed in college, right? So I'll pause there really quick. Let me answer these two questions, and then I will pick up where I left off. So, Miss Mina, how do you go forward with no real offers by senior year? Um, it was it was hard for lack of better words. Um, I had no confidence, right? And I think that as an athlete, confidence is your biggest hidden tool, right? And confidence isn't because you're cocky or because you know you're good or because XYZ. I knew, right? I was mad because I knew that I was putting the work in, right? And it wasn't showing for me. Okay. So when I know what I'm doing and it's not manifesting it for me, you have to find somebody that'll tell you, or you have to find people that will keep you going, right? No journey, no matter what it is. If I'm in a work journey, in a marriage, in any successful relationship, you will never be able to do things by yourself. And it always comes up. It always catches you when it catches you, right? So it almost caught me. It almost caught me in the fact of I'm going into my senior year with no catches. I am going to stop playing football. I am going to be I was an all-state baseball player already. Why? What am I doing? I was like, what am I doing? Like I'm wasting my time. People told me you cannot give up. You cannot give up. I was this close. I was this close. I will tell you right now in the car, I was this close. This close. And if I didn't have people that knew me, right? My mom, my coach, my trainers, my doctor, my therapist, like all these different people that I tried to build a connection and try to build a network with, whether people put them in my path, whether God put them in my path, or somebody reached out to somebody for me, I have a really good circle, right? So I pride myself on that. I'm only as good as the people that I'm connected to, right? So if I don't have good friends, if I don't have friends that are telling me that I'm a good football player, right? If I don't have buddies that I hang out with in the locker room, at the lunch table that say, Brandon, you can't quit. I know that I start over you, but you can't quit because you're good, right? And I'm like, bro, why would you even tell me that if I'm behind you? Just believe me, brother. Just believe me. You have 6 months. What's the worst that can happen in 6 months? You're gonna go to college to play baseball anyways, right? So you might as well just sit. You might as well. You have no idea, right? If I didn't have somebody to tell me that, you just keep go. I have keep going tattooed on my wrist. If you don't keep going, right, then you'll never make it ever in whatever you do. Um, so hopefully that was I was able to answer that a little bit. And then speaking about passion, what was the moment you realized your skills and of course passion transferred into things like personal branding, work, and choosing a job? I would say that I would say I would say the way that certain things don't feel like a job to me, right? So I knew that I love football. I watch football every second of the day. If I'm not working out, I'm probably helping somebody work out, right? If I'm not in my freshman, I started training during COVID of my sophomore year of college because, right, literally, we were all home and I was in the basement and my mom, you guys can kind of paint this picture of my mom. She was like, "You are not leaving this house." So same thing. I don't care what you have to do. You're not going to the gym. You're not seeing your friends. You're not doing XYZ. We have 4 sets of dumbbells in the basement. Figure it out. Quite literally. True story. I would be downstairs and Taiji saw Fitness by Five. That was my first branding. I was number 5 at Bucknell. Started Fitness by Five literally in my basement. So I was in the basement, COVID, nobody's going anywhere. I have 24 hours in a day. I sleep about 8 of them. Got to figure out something to do. I like TV, but I can't watch that much TV, right? So I'm going in the basement and I'm working out. and I'm doing different things. I have no plan. I have no workout. I'm not writing anything down. I'm like, it doesn't look like we're getting opened up anytime soon. So let me just put some things together. I would work out. I fell in love with it. I'm like, I love putting different pieces together. This feels like football. Like I see it. Like I see how this movement can turn into this. I see how if I add this dumbbell and I do it on one arm, it can help me with my explosion on like all these different things is thinking, right? Is working to be smart, is working to, oh, wait, if I just put, I actually just put a really good workout together. I wasn't even thinking about it, right? But I just put a workout together. And that now I start, right? I'm a football player. So now I need stuff to do, right? So on Instagram, no, there's nothing going on. All right, well, let me share a couple right exercises. Let me get some feedback. Same thing. I always want to learn. So let me see. Let me send them to my teammates first, right? See if they like it. I'll send them to guys right in my position. I think we should do this. I think you should add a little bit of this, even if it's 10 minutes at home. We aren't doing anything, so just try it and let me know. That was I it literally took off from there. And I was like, I had no intentions of starting a training business. I will tell you that right now. I wanted to go to the NFL. I got hurt, right? I always believe. And once again, we're kind of getting towards the end of time, but things always happen for a reason, right? I got hurt to the point that I had to stop my playing career before I even got the chance to try, right? But if COVID had never happened, two, if I had never tried something new or tried to put different things together, I would have no idea. I would be sitting here saying, I'm a person that really loves football that can't play football anymore. And I don't know how to come back. I don't know what to do. I don't know where to go. I don't know who to call. I have resources, but I don't know what to do. Right. So being able to say, all right, as I'm going throughout my journey, as I'm transferring, as unnatural things happen, as I get hurt, as trying to come back too fast, all these different things, I never tapped into my training, right, business, but I'm I'm subconsciously training all the time, right? So now I'm taking kids to the gym, or when school does open at Bucknell, right? I was at the point that 7 months in, I'm running classes on the turf outside because the gym is closed, right? And once again, zero intention, but kids that follow me, right? It took me 6 months to get like 900 followers on Instagram. Like just I have no media, I have no flash, like I'm just recording home videos, right? But people are like, we see something like that, yo, these are actually okay. And I'm like, I don't know, I'm bored, and here you guys go. If you like it, I'll keep doing it more. But like, this is cool, I guess. And it just transformed, and it's just I'm getting to Bucknell and all my classmates and all of my people, and now I'm doing well, right? So football is starting to come along, and people know who I am, and whether that I don't like I don't want that, right? But it is what it is, right? So I can't help it at this point. I can't help. I still want to do well on the football field, so I know more people are going to know about me as I do well, right? So how am I going to use that to an advantage and say, with this platform that I have at Bucknell specifically, at a school that I had never heard of, right? I can be the most talked about person on campus by accident, right? So it's like I'm running these workout classes, and I'm public speaking to groups of like genuinely 35 people. And we're doing body weight workouts, and it's boys and girls, and it's seniors, and it's freshmen, and there are athletes there because we're like, we don't have any team workouts. So volleyball players, field hockey, some of my best, like people that played. So Taylor, right? Taylor was one of my first clients, and she's one of my best friends. Like now she's my workout client as a professional basketball player. So like things just naturally flow, right? And I was like, once I got to the point that I had to stop playing, I was like, what do I have that I enjoy to do? And I enjoy football, and I enjoy sports, and I enjoy to read, and I enjoy to be smart. So how am I going to figure out a way to try to take a first step and maximize the talents that I have, right? So honestly, like the way that I got here, and obviously I wish I had a little bit more time, but I'll gladly jump on another call and talk about everything. But like it was so unnatural, right? That now I'm really happy, right? Because I'm at the point where I don't feel pressure, right? I'm like, I know, right, that if I just work hard, which I'm naturally capable of doing, right? I've done it. It's just how I am. I wake up early. Personal trainers work early, right? Like all these different things fall into my lap of I enjoy what I do. I enjoy being around kids because it teaches me, right, how to be humble. It teaches me that I'm around professional players and NFL guys, and I train all these big time. But like me seeing one of my kids on here that's 6 years old, right? That's watching that. I'm just like, yo, I work you out, but I also work out the big kids, right? So I want you to hear this story, and I want different people to be connected to me to say, Brandon helped me, right? I don't know where Brandon's at. Like I got my master's in psychology, so I try to hit that end of it. I am starting some mental coaching. Like I coach baseball, coach football. My sister's a volleyball player that's gonna go play in college. Like my cousins all play sports, so it's like I can do so many different things that I feel no pressure on because I know it's not cocky for me to say that I know that I'm good at what I do, and it's because of the work and the preparation that I put in. I'll never say that out loud to people, right? But I don't have to, I don't market myself necessarily. I have people take videos. I've never once asked, hey, I want you to come work out with me. Or, hey, you're a 15-year-old kid that looks like he's going to be really good. I want you to come to my gym and see if you like me because I know that I got you from that. Like that's not how I see anything because I don't think that I don't think that that's how things are sustainable. I'm a big guy on sustainability. I want to make sure that if I'm doing something, it has to be able to last, right? If I'm training people, I'm not going to charge you something that you can't afford at the very beginning, right? And I'm not going to upcharge you. Like all these different things are just me. I just want to be a good person. Like I want to be a good person. I want to help you. This is how I think I can help you. So how can we make this work? Right? If you're 20, if you're 50, if you just had a double hip replacement, like, all right, I can still be your trainer. We can't do the same things that other people are doing, but how can I help you? How can I make your life better? How can I bring you these different lessons and these different things that people taught me, right, to try to make sure that people are getting what they need in their world. So let me go down to this last question really quick. From Miss Katie, how did you handle the adversity of your journey ending and that being your identity? What do you recommend as a way to handle that transition from not playing? And I realized if you try to run around it, it's gonna kill you, right? It's one of those like you have to go through the fire, and it's not gonna be. It's a different process for everybody, right? Once you play sports, once you start, everybody has the same ending experience, right? It's just different. It's at different times. It's at different severities. Like maybe I got to the NFL and I had to quit. Maybe I didn't make my 8th grade baseball team, right? All these different things you still have to deal with. I'm not on this team, right? I didn't make it. I had to, like, I had got hurt. So the way that my career ended, right? I had got hurt. And once again, people don't know this. So this is actually probably the second time that I've ever said this. I got hurt at Bucknell. Okay. So I broke my foot at Bucknell. I was born with club feet. So I have, compromised legs. Honestly, I've been going to PT my entire life. I wasn't supposed to make it to Bucknell, right? But I made it there. So once I made it there, shoot, who would I be to take myself out of the game? And this is why it's hard for me, right? And it's the wrong way to think about it. So that's why I'm so adamant on trying to teach people how to come with it, right? So I had broke my foot probably twice at Bucknell. Taji knows I actually broke my foot in the Lehigh game, right? When we played you guys, right? I broke my foot that game. I had to sit out a couple games, came back, wasn't right. Okay, whatever. COVID happened, right? So timing allowed me to heal up, right? It allowed me to not have to get surgery. It allowed me to sit down and recover and research and figure out if I don't want to get surgery, how am I gonna play? My foot has been broken for maybe 4 years, and I've never got surgery. Okay, as I'm going through, okay, the last game of my Bucknell career, shortened season. It's in the spring, right? Because of COVID timing, I break my foot again, right? But I know at this position in my life, right? I graduated early, right? So I have 2 years to play. Let me. I have to do this. I have to do this, and that is a horrible way to think, right? But in the position that I was in, I had to do this. I had the opportunity to do something greater, right? Look at the coincidence of this. My head coach at Bucknell that gave me the scholarship offer, okay, he got let go after my freshman year. He went to Rutgers. Okay. Rutgers is head coach right now, right? Same same guy. His son played with me at Bucknell. So his son was my locker buddy. Last name is Shiano. Our names are right next to each other. Him and I are close. We play different positions. He's 3 years older than me, but he's my locker buddy. We're going through the same struggle. Even if we don't connect on a spiritual level, personal, we're gonna be cool. Yeah, we're gonna be friends. We're gonna be cool, right? So me building that relationship with him, me building that relationship with my coach that went to Rutgers, right? He called me after the game. He watched the game. He knew that I broke my foot. How did he know that I broke it? Because of trust. Because he knows me. He knows what to look for. I've been hurt before. He knew, right? He called me. Okay, this is what he said. After I went in the transfer portal, I committed to Rutgers probably 4 days later. It was between Rutgers and Utah State. I was like, I don't really think I want to go to Utah. I want my parents to see me play the last 2 years. I don't really know if I want to do that. How did my other school end up being Rutgers? I was like, what? I don't know, but here we are, right? I'm just gonna keep it rolling, just keep going. He called me. He said, "Is your foot broken?" First question: Is your foot broken? I said, "Do you want me to be honest with you, or do you want me to give you a Rutgers football answer?" He said, "I want you to be honest with me." I said, "Yes, my foot's broken." He said, "Do you know what you have to do to take?" He said, well, actually, first off, he said, "Do you think that you can take care of it?" I said, "Yes." I didn't know if I could. I said, "Yes." He said, "If we offer you," he said, "because we know you. We know you. Coach Shiano has seen me play. He came to his son's games. We know you. We've seen enough film. We know about you. We know your character. We're going to pull the trigger. Can you do it?" That's all he said. He said, "Can you do it?" My foot's broke. My foot is actively broken. Like 6 days, right? 6 days earlier. Can you do it? I said, "I can do it." I said, "I can do it." He said, "Okay," and hung up the phone. Coach Shiano called me, offered me. I committed, and that's how that got to be, right? But my foot is broken. So as I'm playing throughout Rutgers, I'm going through camp. I'm doing that's a whole nother story, right? Going through camp, doing all these things. I'm getting really good rehab, right? Because of the level, right? Now I'm in the Big Ten. Now I have all these different modalities and all these different doctors and all these things, so I can keep myself at bay, right? And now it's just the hard work that I built up, right? So I know that I know how to play with pain, right? So that doesn't really phase me. So what do I have to do to get on the field to play at Rutgers, right? I came into Rutgers as a fifth string wide receiver, fifth string. In 3 weeks, I was second string, and then 3 weeks into the season, somebody got hurt. The starter got hurt. I started. My first game that I started, I caught a 70-yard touchdown. Like just once again, like you can't even make that up. You can't even make that up. Like if you want to, my first catch ever. Okay, I caught a couple against Temple just to kind of get me going. My first game, whatever. First big time catch, 70 yards, touchdown. My mom was in the stands, my entire family. My mom's crying, everybody's giving her hugs. Like all these things are like, this is how I got to where I am, right? And then I had to shut it down. So the end of the season, right, I broke my foot again. So now I'm on 3 broken feet, the same foot 3 times in the last 3.5 years, right? So now I'm at a point, and I know, we're winding down on time, but I am at a point where I am like, I don't know if I can do this. Like I am just I have one more year left. I'm gonna try, right? Because I'll never give up on something. I'll never give up. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna give you everything that I have, right? And I did that for 8 months. Coach said, I just need you back in August of next year. This is December. I need you back in August of next year. Whatever you have to do, you take 7 days off at a time, you take 3 weeks off. I don't care. Be ready to come back in August. Why did he say that? He trusted me, right? So he said, I know that you're going to be in the weight room. I know that you're going to be getting rehab. Find a way to put August on your time thing, and you should be ready to go by August. I'm like, all right, cool. That's enough time. As I'm getting towards August, I just I don't feel myself, right? And it's one of those, I know myself so well, or I tried to learn myself so well that I know, and I don't have to tell you why something is wrong. Like I don't, I can't give you the best version of myself or try to fake it or try to do X. I can't, right? So I called it as late as I possibly could. A week before camp started, right? I called it. My foot was not healing correctly. I was in a boot every day for like 6 months. I can't do it, coach. Cannot do it. Hardest moment of my life, right? That I can remember in terms of like nothing hit me in that exact moment because I didn't know the severity of what I just said, right? But as I'm going through the next week, I would never wish that on anybody. I was not doing anything. I wasn't getting out of bed. I wasn't eating. It was horrible, right? It was horrible. And I say that transparently to say, I know that that's a lot of people's situations, right? So people see me, right? And they're like, I know what Coach Brandon has had to endure. I know what he's doing. I know that he's got keep going on his wrist. That's the first thing that he does. It's hard. Like, that's my entire life, right? And you're right, they don't tell you this part of it. Like, they don't tell you once football is over, right? God forbid, and I say prayers every day actually, for people that are really good at football, right? For people that are in the NFL, for people that recently retire, right? That have no other place to go. I genuinely feel that. Like, I feel when you don't think that you're good at other things, when all I know is that I'm getting paid millions of dollars, I'm now with college football, kids are getting paid, right? So now it's going to be even worse, right? When all that stuff goes away, right? All that stuff is done. What are you going to do? If you don't work on learning yourself, if you don't work on finding different avenues, finding different places to go, when you get it stripped away from you, because it always does, no matter what, it could be now, it could be in 3 years. Once again, you never know, but it always ends. So when it ends, even though the pieces are going to be broken, right? They don't have to be scattered, right? So that was another quote that I thought was really powerful for me during my journey. If the pieces are broken, make sure they aren't scattered, right? Because when they're scattered, now I have to reach. Now I have to do things that I'm not comfortable doing, right? Now I have to go out of my comfort zone. Now I do things that I'm not usually doing. I'm partying, or I'm doing X, Y. Like, those are things that are not part of your character, because if they were, you would have manifested that earlier. Like, if you're a partier, we know you're a partier. Like, there's no, right? So why is Brandon all of a sudden doing all these different things to try to get over, right, something that he didn't know how to handle, right? So my first month was horrible, literally horrible. And same thing, the only way that I kept myself going is because I had people that literally picked me up out of bed and said, you have to go eat. Like, I'm not going to let you not go eat, right? I'm not going to let you not go to your therapist 3 times a week. If I have to drive you over there, I will drive you over there myself. But, right, when it's 2:55, I don't care if you don't have any clothes on. You come here, I will be knocking on the door, and I will sit outside until you, right, come outside. And sometimes that's how it is, right? Sometimes they don't tell you that, right? They don't tell you that. Sometimes you have to go through it, right? That's why I trust the people that I have in my circle. I know will do anything for me, right? And not on a cocky, not saying that, in any kind of conceited way, but I pick people, right? I pick people that treat me like they treat themselves, right? So if I need somebody, right? Because I know that I'm that somebody for somebody. I don't know who it is. I might know who it is, right? But that's not my intention. If I'm going to be that for somebody, you have to let somebody be it for you, because you can't do it for yourself. That's not, you tried it, right? It didn't work. You tried it. You're not eating, right? You tried it. You're doing all these things that you're not supposed to be doing, right? So now I have to take it in my own hands and say, you have to figure out what to do. If you want to go, and why do I love to read? Because my mom would make me, right, after therapy, go pick out a book and go sit at the coffee shop and go read for an hour. I used to read for an hour every day growing up. No matter, you can't play video games, you can't go to a sleepover. If you don't read, you get your phone taken. Like, I've grown up on reading. I've grown up on finding peace of mind and doing things that help center myself, right? So my mom was like, why would you not do that right now? Right? I know you don't want to. So what do I have to do? I have to make you. I have to make you get up and go to therapy and get a glass of water and pick a book out from the rack and go sit down and read. And I'll do that for 2 months. I'll do that for 3 months. You can hate me. I don't care. Right? But you're going to learn, right? You're going to learn how to be smart, and you're going to learn how to take care of yourself. And you're going to learn, right, that sometimes you just need to disconnect yourself. And sometimes if I feel like the world is ending because football's over, then I probably shouldn't be around football for a little bit, right? I should probably take some time off. I should probably say, maybe I did play 3 sports in high school. Maybe I did play the saxophone growing up. Maybe I do like to read, right? Maybe I do like to now put workout plans together, right? Maybe I do like to do XYZ that is still involved in football, but it can help me get over it as opposed to help me stay on it, right? So finding these different things to say, this is what I need to do for myself to get myself to a good place is important. And sometimes you don't know what it is. Sometimes it's a lot of trial and error. It's a lot of crying days. I cried more than I ever cried in my entire life in a 2-month span, right? And I still cry. My friends know, right? If I post stories on Instagram a lot, that means that I'm thinking about it, right? So so now they know, right? And anytime, and like clockwork, anytime that I post or I start posting some old stories or whatever it is, one of my friends texts me and says, just let go. Like, just let it go. You're coaching, you're a light for somebody else. You're never going to get it back. You're never going to play again. So if you're going to keep thinking about it, it's probably going to keep killing you over and over again, right? But think about what you do for people within the realm of football. Like, you'll never have to play another snap again for people to know that you made an impact on them, right? And that's a big deal to me, right? So knowing that, and knowing that I like to help people, and knowing that I like to, make people smile and to make people happy and to cheer people on, like, that stuff is important. So I know that I can help the best way that I can through coaching, right? Through training, through seeing people develop, right? I wasn't a superstar growing up, right? So the clients that I love working with the most, right, are not football players, are not NFL athletes, right? Because I appreciate, right, the being something that you don't think you can be, right? And saying like, yo, this workout isn't going to be the hardest workout of your life, right? But these next 3 months might, right? Because it's about consistency. And it's not because I'm trying to kill you. The exercises aren't going to be any harder than any other trainer, right? But I'm not going to let you give up, right? And the hardest thing about getting into any routine, about picking yourself up off the floor, right, is telling yourself that you cannot give up, right? So if at any point you want to do that, give Brandon a call. Even if I'm not your client, like, I don't care if I'm your trainer or not. I want to be that person that says, if you're in trouble for any reason, give Brandon a call, right? Because I have some kind of knowledge point. It might not be your exact situation, but I have some kind of knowledge point of where I can take your thoughts, where I can try to help you, where I can try to guide you, and then we'll go from there, and we'll see, right? And we'll see what happens. So let me get to what was it that helped you through your college athletic career, balancing everything that there is to balance? I would say having a plan is the biggest thing, right? So I think a lot of people get in trouble because they don't plan for the good and the bad things, right? So not planning for, like, college is hard. Yo, it was my first time. I'm really close with my family. Okay, Bucknell is 2.5 hours away, but me not seeing my family every day, like that's hard. That's hard for a young kid to do. It's hard for every kid going to college, right? So make a plan. If you know you're not going to see your parents every day, and you know you might not have time to FaceTime every day because of class, because of football, because of make a schedule, right? I think that one of my biggest traits, or one of the things that have made me the most successful, is that I am so organized, and I try to be, right, schedule wise, in terms of, like, if I as a trainer, if I double book myself, that is like the worst thing in the world for me. And I've never done it, right? Knock on wood. But with the amount of traveling, like, I live in Downingtown, I work in King of Prussia, and I coach in the city. So in a given day, I'm driving at least 2 hours and some change, at least, right? So think about that. If I'm a personal trainer, right, I'm missing out, we'll say, on like 3 sessions a day, right, that I could be making money on. At this point in my life, I can't, because finances, because I have to do other things. I have to establish myself as a coach, as a trainer. I know these different things, so I can't make immediate plays on certain right things that I want to do. So I know, right, that if I have to sacrifice 3 clients a day at this point, and this is just talking about me, and I'll kind of get back into college, but how am I gonna maneuver that? What's my schedule gonna look like? Right? Do I give myself enough time on 76 if somebody gets in an accident, right, that I can say, all right, hey coach, just send you a quick text, right? Communication, coach, I'm gonna be 10 minutes late. I'm coming from work. If you don't mind, if it's something that we really need to work on, would you mind moving it to the back end of practice? Because I know that I'll, right, be able to be there. If it's not an issue, right? If it's an issue, then we can figure it out. But if people are so accommodating because I like to communicate, because I'm on time, because I do these certain things, that people are like, we're going to give Brandon the benefit of the doubt, right? But I earn that. I know that most people don't have that right? Most people can't say, I'm going to be 10 minutes late for a workout. I want you to do these 4 exercises. So by the time that you finish, I know that you'll be warm. I know that your upper body's warm, your core, and we'll hit the ground running as soon as I get there. Sorry about that. I have no control over it, right? Somebody got in an accident. The stoplight was broken. I right? But people know, all right, Brandon's doing what he's supposed to do. Brandon's trying. Brandon's making all these things that I going to Philly on a day off from Downingtown is not necessarily what I want to do, right? But as a coach, I care about my kids, right? So if my kids call me, I'm always going to answer, right? If my kids text me, if my kids say, coach, I need something, can you call me real quick? Or, hey, can we work out real quick? Or, hey, I'm having a tough time. I might not be able to answer you right at that moment because I do have a lot of things going on, right? And I'm the first person to admit I'm the freshman baseball coach at St. Joe's Prep. I'm the wide receiver coach at St. Joe's Prep. I'm working on trying to be a mental health coach. So I'm in the process of getting that certification now. I'm a personal trainer at Lifetime, and I have my own business, right? So there are going to be certain days that I can't necessarily answer you right now, or I might have to leave a text in my phone until Monday so I could remember to answer it when it needs to get answered. Right. So certain things like that, I think, are really important to say. I know that I might not have all the access and all the time, but I can work with people to make sure that they know that I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. So in terms of college, I would just say having a plan. Like, I think that it really gets overlooked because college kids are not good with planning and not good with, time management and all these different things that are really, really important that you figure out as you get older, right? So if somebody tells you time management is important, college is probably the best time to start practicing it, right? Maybe I should practice, right? I'm probably not going to get it right every time. Like, I'm probably going to sleep through my alarm a couple times for class. Cool, I've done it, right? Everybody in college does that. Whether you want to say it or not, people miss class for some odd reason. I've done it before. How do I make sure that I don't do it again? Damn, my phone alarm didn't go off. Shoot, I guess I have to buy an alarm clock. I have an alarm clock. My alarm clock goes off every morning. I set it at night. I put it somewhere where I can't touch it from my bed so that I have to get up in the morning. Little stuff like that. Like, you don't think about stuff like that, but how am I a trainer that's never late for an early morning session? because I make myself get up and get moving from the very start of the day. As soon as I hear my alarm clock, it's on the other side of the room. Whether I like it or not, I have to get up to stop hearing this annoying sound. So I might as well just get up and brush my teeth and go make coffee and shoot. I'm already up. Here we go. Like that. Sometimes on the days where you don't want to do it, that's how you make yourself do it. And that's not a sexy thing to talk about, or it's not a very like, people might understand that, people might not understand it, right? But I know that it works for me. I've practiced it. I've done things that haven't worked for me, right? So failure is a big thing. I like to fail because I like to learn, right? So if I know what not to do, I promise you I won't do it again. And if I do it again, then that's on me. And I'll tell you why I did it. And sometimes it's an accident, and I'm sorry, but sometimes like I know not to do certain things because I've seen people do it. I've seen myself do it, and I've had people tell me that I trust, so I don't need to see it, but I trust you, so I'm going to believe you. Right? So being able to say, like, in college, your biggest skill that you have to learn and that you have to develop, having all these different things going on, is time management. So, like, being able, you're not going to make it work as a football player if you don't sacrifice. I don't want to go to sleep early in college. Nobody cares. If you want to play, if you want to break records and you want to do all these things, you have a better chance at doing it by going to bed early. So if you don't want to do it and you just want to be, what did coach tell me when I got on campus? You're going to be a starter, probably until you graduate. So if you want to stay out all night and party and make us look like a fool, but we're still throwing you the ball 12 times a game. We're still throwing you the ball 15 times a game. So if you want to drop 7 of them, then you look like an asshole, or you look like, sorry, right? Excuse my language. But if you want to make the most of the opportunity, then here are the keys. We'll help you if you need help, right? But figure it out, right? We'll help you when you fail. We'll tell you when you're doing a good job, so you know to keep doing that, right? We're not going to overbear you, but we're going to tell you exactly where you're at in this process so that you can grow and you can start to learn things for yourself as you move.